Put on your blue suede shoes and board the plane, because this week we're touching down in the land of the Delta Blues. Broadcasting from the Car Hole Lounge, it's Smoking Sounds, the ultimate podcast for cigar and pipe enthusiasts, WWE fans, and those looking to embark on a journey where smoke intertwines with sound. Welcome back, Smoking Sounds enthusiasts. Now, if you're a fan of the smooth draw of a well-aged cigar, the aromatic pleasures of a perfectly packed pipe, the heart-pounding riffs of rock and roll, and the bone-crushing actions of the WWE, then you have found your new favorite hangout. I'm Sean, one of the hosts, and normally right here I would say, and joining me is a man who needs no introduction, but Justin is off defending his Tennessee backyard heavyweight champion of the world at Coins in the Bank. So joining me is the man with the blue suede shoes on, the leader of the Wolf Pack all the way from Graceland. It's Alan Wolfe.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, brother?
Good to be here.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, thank you so much for taking time out to jump on here with me, and got a little NWO Wolf Pack. I thought, hey, what a better way to bring you on with some Wolf Pack music.
Yeah, because when you're NWO, you're NWO for life.
That's right. Woo! See? We got to give him one. He got it. I can't remember which one. There it is. I couldn't remember which one was my applaud button. You almost got a little...
It's Tiffy time!
Which, that'll work too, you know. So...
Yeah, she is Tiffy in the bank.
That's right. Hey, and speaking of in the bank, that's right. Justin is down. He is defending his title at what we are calling Coins in the Bank. So hopefully we'll get a live update for him. I saw just a little bit ago that the Atomic Titan tried to pull a sneak attack, but as Justin is known in Tennessee backyard wrestling, Father Time put him in a figure four leg lock and shut that down real quick. So, but all right, man. Well, listen, Alan. So listen, I wanted to invite you on here for a couple of reasons. So if you guys are watching our Instagram page, you saw we just kind of released our Smoking Sounds poker chips, I guess is what we'll call them. So, and we did that. It's got our kind of initial guy, Mr. Smoke, is on those. And so our first plan for those is we want to get those out to people like you, Alan, that have been with us since day one, that have been our biggest supporters, that have just, became instant friends with us. And so first I want to thank you for all of your support with this podcast. And it means so much to us. So first of all, I want to say thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you guys so much.
Well, hey, listen, we get told this all the time, and I hope it's true, that people say when they listen to this, they feel like they're at a cigar lounge. They're not listening to a podcast. They're kind of hanging out at a cigar lounge. So I hope that continues, because that makes us feel really good when people give us that bit of information. So, we've got walking in Memphis here. This was kind of as soon as I told Justin I was going to have you on with me, he texted me and he was like, you've got to include walking in Memphis. So that's what kind of brought on the intro and everything there.
Absolutely. It's a classic for sure.
I love Memphis, man. We it sucks because I was just on vacation and you were on vacation and I drove. I mean, yeah. I could have exited off and came right to the house, but you wouldn't have been there. So
that's true.
I mean, that would have been great.
You could have came and hopped in the pool and had a good time.
Hey, man, listen, don't tease me with a good time. I'll be there quick. And I'm glad you said that. So, we talk about Dirk, Cigars for Beginners. You know who I'm talking about. He's going to be having the North Georgia Cigar Festival in March of 2025. The NGA Festival, I believe it is, or NGA Cigar Festival on Instagram. If you want to follow Dirk, we appreciate everything that Dirk does for us as well. We love his website. We always tell anybody if they're getting into cigars, man, make sure you visit his website because he's got some great information. Have you spent much time on his website, Alan?
I have not. I wish that I had known about him when I started. I am fairly new, it'll be 2 years Thanksgiving that I've been into cigars. So I had to take that deep dive and had to check out a lot of different sources.
Yeah.
To find what he's all got in one spot.
And I kind of started so in 2020. So I guess I'm about 3.5 years now because after COVID, my wife got me a pipe. And so I tried to start a pipe and I went to Ted's Pipe Shop here in Tulsa to get some more pipe tobacco. And I ended up wandering off into the cigar humidor there, and it just brought back all those memories of when me and Justin used to go and buy cigars. And as Justin likes to say, we don't even take our own advice here on this podcast. So you definitely want to make sure you're checking out cigarsforbeginners.com, because the first cigar he ever introduced me to was a Punch Maduro. And so that was like a double kick, right? So,
yeah. I actually strayed away from the dark leaf cigars for a long time for that reason, because taking that deep dive into YouTube videos and just other experts, they always say start out with something light. My first cigar was a Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne.
Ooh, man, that's a great one.
It is a great, anybody that asks about it, that's what I say that first cigar should be.
Yeah, I always say Rocky Patel's vintage 1999, but I would put the Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne, I would put that, that's almost neck and neck right there. You couldn't have mentioned a better cigar.
Absolutely. But as I've come to find out, I am a big fan of dark leaf cigars, whether it's Maduro or Connecticut broadleaf. Big fan. Yeah. Big fan of the darker stuff too.
I think one of our first few episodes when we were just trying to get our feet underneath us here, we did one with the La Aroma de Cuba with their Connecticut broadleaf, and it was first of all, to me, La Aroma de Cuba has the most beautiful cigar band there is. That woman on the front of it is one of the most beautiful cigar bands. And just a great cigar. And you're right, it's a dark wrapper cigar, and so it can be a little intimidating, but it doesn't smoke like a full body cigar. It's a really nice smoke. So
absolutely.
Well, listen, so since you are co-hosting with me today, you get to have the privilege of setting in on this Smoking Sounds Smoking Report. Hey, listen, the Smoking Report is brought to you by Zemo nicotine pouches, the future of zero tobacco nicotine pouches. Find them on Instagram at Zemo Pouches Official. So what have you been smoking there, Brother Alan? You got anything you want to report on?
Well, I had my second Liga Privado experience. Had the privilege of smoking a Liga 9 just the other night. And again, it's a dark wrapper. I thought it was a Maduro, but it is a broadleaf.
Okay.
With a Nicaraguan filler, and I have to tell you, it's top three I've ever had so far.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, because I have not had a Liga Privada from Drew Estate because I'm scared to death of them. They look like little full body torpedoes that are going to put me on my keister, like I like to say, right?
Right.
So I actually ventured into Steve Saka's line of the Dunbarton, because I believe he is the one that helped start Liga Privada. I might be wrong on that, so if they need to fact check me. But
well, one of the things that I found out while checking reviews before I smoked it was that was supposed to be a specific cigar just for Saka.
Okay.
To keep in his humidor, and it went over so well. Just, I guess, within the company, they said, we got to put this out. Now, I could be wrong. Again, you know how information is.
Right.
Sometimes you get bad. But in that same vein, and I know you've had the Blackened M81.
Yes.
That one scared me to death. But once I smoked it, that is, again, in my top three. So, but the Liga 9 is... It's different, but it's full of flavor, but it won't blow your head off.
So I'm not a big drinker, but we did the Blackened episode where Justin bought a bottle of the Blackened whiskey and we had the Blackened cigar. I had smoked the Blackened cigar, I'm going to say maybe 4 times before we did that episode. I don't know if you're a drinker. I'm not a big drinker, but I thought, for the sake of the podcast, I want to see what this pairing is like, because obviously there's got to be something to it, or Metallica wouldn't have done it, right? And I'm telling you, just taking a sip off of that whiskey and kind of swirling it on my palate, it took that blackened M81 from a 9.5 to like a 20. It was amazing.
Absolutely. And I don't know. They definitely know what they're doing over there between, Jonathan Drew over at Drew Estates and Rob Dietrich at the bottler, or the distiller. They definitely worked really hard to pair those. And the blackened that I have is actually the cask strength. So it's 124 proof. So
Woo!
it's super hot. So you got to give it time to mellow a little bit.
Yeah. And another thing about that cigar I thought was really cool. I'm sorry I jumped on you there, but
no.
James Hetfield was actually hands in on blending that cigar. So it wasn't just like, hey, I'm putting my name on it. And from what I'm seeing with the M72 tour that they're on, he smokes one before every show.
Yes, it looks like he does that as part of his warm up routine.
Yeah,
I was not to kind of give you a preview of the S84, but it pairs really well. The blackened pairs really well with it too.
See, and I love that too. How they have the S84, the M81. It's and it ties along with the music. Now, I read that at the end of the bottling process, they put the bottles of whiskey into a room, and Metallica's music's played real loud. I don't know if those notes actually do anything to the whiskey, but I'd like to think that they do.
Well, I mean, any kind of vibration is going to move the liquid through the wood, and I think that's what pulls that flavor out of the wood I think that's what the process was meant to be.
Okay. So all right, so we got the Liga Privada number 9 that you smoked. You got anything else you want to bring up?
I've also recently really got into the Warfighter line. I had a couple of theirs. I had their Maduro and their Maduro Oscuro. Very, very similar. There are some different tasting notes. It almost seems like the regular Maduro is maybe a little more oaky, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can taste a little more wood in it.
Okay.
But again, very full body, full flavor, but won't blow the top of your head off.
Nice. So being there in the area of Memphis, Mississippi that you are, do you have pretty good access to cigar shops and things like that?
Yes. In fact, here in the town that I live in, because I'm actually in the suburbs here, there's 3 brick and mortar stores within 15 minutes of me.
Oh, nice.
So and they all carry a little something different.
Okay.
So
maybe I should have exited off there at exit 208 so I could have jumped on in and visited those. Because here in Tulsa, we've got several brick and mortar stores, and I love them all. But it's like they don't carry some of the more like. I've wanted to try a bunch of different things from Caldwell, and I'll bring one of their cigars up here in a second. In Room 101, and so there are different lines that we don't crown heads. We don't get a lot of crown heads here in Tulsa. So, but we do get a lot of foundations, and Perdomo's huge. Perdomo Pat is our rep. Absolutely love that guy. He's just awesome, and so when I was in Georgia, Florida area, I like I said, I was able to stumble upon a little vape shop that had a humidor, and I got to try Caldwell's The Last Czar. It was a Toro 50x6 Ecuadorian wrapper. The binder and filler are undisclosed. They don't want you to know what you're smoking on, I guess. But I had a lot of notes of like cedar and grass, and it was funny because as I got into like the final third, I even picked up some like berry notes in the cigar, which was kind of weird because I don't have the best palate in the world. So for me to actually pick that up, that must really be in there. So,
yeah, I can tell you, my palate is not very refined. I can pick up, leather and the occasional chocolate, but I'm started to kind of catch that woody taste. So I'm assuming it's oak. It could be cedar. It could, or even that grassy.
Yeah.
Hint.
And so now, if you have a chance, so like I said, I'm like you, I don't have a real defined palate, but so Foundations, their Charter Oak line, the Charter Oak Maduro, I had a guy at one of our local shops tell me, he was like, hey, if you want to pick up chocolate notes out of cigar and leather and all this. So they're like $6 for a Gordo, right? They're kind of the entry line to just me, Oos. We're gonna eat real quick. So, but yeah, so that was one of the first cigars that I actually smoked and could actually pick up like different notes, like chocolate and stuff like that. So if you have a chance to get your hands on one, grab one. If not, I'll send you one.
Gotcha.
So the other cigar I wanted to bring up real quick before we get out of the smoking report, I know you guys are listening to, what in the hell are you guys talking about? We're still in the smoking report. So listen, you know Ben and Andy and the guys over at the Leaf Cutters. So they do this really cool deal where they send like a little Tupperware thing around, and it's like they send it to you, and you kind of take what you want and then put something back in there, right? It's a great idea for cigar sharing and things like that. And they were kind enough to actually send me my first Caldwell Blind Man's Bluff, which was a phenomenal cigar. But they sent me another one and I picked out, it was Man o' War Ruination from AJ Fernandez. It was a torpedo style. And those are another cigar style that I tend to stay away from because I'm scared to cut them. Like, where do you cut the damn thing at, right? You don't want to cut off too much of that cap end. But man, it was I think it was a Connecticut broadleaf torpedo. And it was just, it was a bold cigar, but a lot of leather and earth notes and stuff is what I found. So, but yeah, those are kind of my two cigars that I wanted to bring up on the smoking report. And again, thanks to Ben and Andy from the Leaf Cutters for those cigars. You got anything else you want to bring up on the smoking report before we close it out?
Nope, that should do it. But love those guys over at the Leaf Cutters. They're great dudes.
Great dudes. Thanks to Zemo for sponsoring this week's Smoking Report. Say, listen, today's episode is sponsored by our good friend Nick over at Bullet and Brave Cigar Company. For the best cigars that stands around, find them on Instagram at bullets_and_brave. And of course, we talked about Dirk and the NGA North Georgia Cigar Festival. Find them on Instagram. And like I said, on today's episode, we are howling with the wolf. Hey, big thanks to you again, Brother Alan, and happy birthday to your son, Chandler. Was it yesterday? Was that right?
It was yesterday. That's right.
Okay. Well, hey, man, listen, a big happy birthday. I understand he had quite a tasking day today, so getting a little rest, but pass on our happy birthday wishes to him, I guess we'll say.
I most certainly will.
So, like I said, Justin's down there he's in Jacksonville, Florida at Coins in the Bank, defending his title. The Grim Reaper, the Atomic Titan, the Nature Boy Gage Flair, the Prophet Jay Wild. Justin will be taking on the Prophet Jay Wild for the belt. We're hoping the ringleader doesn't try to jump in and sabotage that match, so hopefully he'll jump on in a little bit. Give us an update. Let us know if he was able to bring home the belt, or if maybe it's tiffy time for him down there. Who knows? So so let me ask you. So in case Justin doesn't get a chance to jump on, I want to ask the question that I know he'll kick me out if I don't ask. So have you ever smoked a pipe, or do you smoke a pipe?
I do not. I am very interested in it. My dad was a pipe smoker.
Okay.
So when listening to you guys, it just brought back, and being a little kid and walking with him into the tinderbox or other tobacco shop and seeing the big wooden Indian at the door and just smelling he liked to smoke an apple tobacco.
Oh, nice.
So that always stuck with me. So it's kind of got me nostalgic. I'm just waiting to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I like to tell everybody, you got to run down to your local tobacconist there. Get you one of those little cheap corncob pipes. And I like an aromatic. Cornell and Deal has one called Autumn Evening, and they also have one called Black Gold Maple. Man, they taste like they sound. Just beautiful. Gotcha. So what are we about to light up here, Alan? I think we both got the same cigar. So why don't you tell everybody what we're about to light up here?
That is the Jaime Garcia. Boy, I can't even see this. Reserva Special.
That's right. By My Father Cigars. Now, is this your first time having the Jaime Garcia?
It is not.
Okay, mine neither. So I think this is a great cigar. And I'm glad that you picked this cigar because I stopped by. We have a cigar lounge shop here called the Tobacco Pouch. We've recorded several episodes from there. And Pipe Mike, at Pipe Mike, he's on Instagram, guys. Try to follow him. He's not going to accept it, but try to follow him so he knows that y'all are listening. We were in there one night, and a gentleman named Bill came in. Man, it's a good cigar. And he had it straight for the humidor. And he came out and he asked me, he said, man, have you ever had the Jaime Garcia from my father? And at that time I hadn't. I had just had the Judge, the Don Pepin Garcia, and then the Connecticut, my father. And so Bill threw me one of these, and man, I just fell in love with it. I think I bought 10 of them before I left that day.
My first exposure to it was my wife. My birthday is in December, right close to Christmas. So she went in and surprised me. My son and I had been in, and I had told him my father had a 5-cigar set of special picks, and of course, one being the Don Pepin Blue, the original, the JJ, the Jaime Garcia. Also a Centurion, and one of the other my father's cigars that I can never pronounce. And there was not a bad cigar in it. The Don Pepin Blue, the original, and the Jaime Garcia were my two favorite out of that because they're just smooth and full of flavor and just a great all-around smoke.
Yeah, they really are. I have yet to have anything from my father that's a bad cigar. Now, have you had the La Dueña or the Janie Garcia? Have you had that one by them?
I have not.
So that one, I found a local shop that still keeps them in stock. I got to send you one, brother. So that was the wife, Janie Garcia. She blended this cigar. And it's like a Toro, and the wrapper has got like a female silhouette on it. It's a $10 price point. It might be my favorite My Father cigar that they make.
I gotcha. The again, I can't. It escapes me the name of the, but they have one of the prettiest bands that I've ever seen. Very elaborate. Got a little gold leaf in there. And it's a no frills cigar. It's straight tobacco, and it as my son puts it, it smokes. It tastes just like you would think it would.
Yeah, and my father, they're one that we don't ever have a problem getting off of the shelf here because everybody just loves them. They got to be one of the top sellers in the Tulsa area. So let's see. I got notes here, Big Al. So if you got something hey, listen, let's do that real quick while I'm kind of thumbing through these. Why don't you tell people how they can find you on social medias and things like that?
Well, my cigar page is at Instagram at big_. See, I'm messing that up already. It's cigars _ wit, WIT _ big _ Al.
There you go. See that? All those underscores, they always get me.
Yes, but I learned that they won't let you capitalize letters. So if it all runs together, then you really don't know what it says.
Right.
So you have to have some kind of determination of it.
That's like our friend Chase. He's got the pipes _ sticks. And I'm just like, dude, that's too many underscores. You got, you're throwing me off, Chase. But yeah, like I mentioned, I was went down to the Jacksonville, Florida area. On my way down, man, I got to stop in Atlanta, and one of my best friends, Mike Bellows, he lives in Atlanta, and it was so good. I hadn't seen him in like 13 years, so it was so good to catch up with him. And man, he's doing some amazing things down there in Atlanta. He's got a lawn care company called Escapes, and it's an all-electric lawn care. So all of his riders, push mowers, weed eaters, blowers, everything is electric. And he built a trailer that has solar panels on it, so he can charge everything in between stops or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, everybody got to check out Escapes. And then I have some real good friends, Jim and Lindsay. They do a podcast called Children of the 80s, and they live in Atlanta. And we actually ended up getting delayed getting down to Atlanta, so got to meet up with Jim on the Sunday morning. Lindsay didn't get to make it because she had volunteered to do something at the church. But man, it's cool to actually get to meet people. You know, like we're getting to do this kind of over the video conference here. But I can't wait until me and Justin stop and pick you up on our way to the North Georgia Cigar Festival. We're going to kidnap you for a couple days.
That sounds like a plan.
I told Justin, I said, hell, we were literally driving right by his front door. We got to stop and pick him up. You know, that'll be, I think Ben and Andy and all Zach and all the guys from Leaf Cutters are going to be there too. So we might as well just make it a big party.
Absolutely. That sounds good to me.
So, we had J Ram, the Crazy Cigars. He was on with us, and he said that he'd never listened to podcasts until he come across. We started following each other on Instagram, and so he started listening to our podcast. Are you a big podcast guy? Do you listen to a lot of them?
I really don't. Before I found out about you guys, it was mostly wrestling podcasts. Talk is Jericho.
Okay.
Foley is Pod.
Nice.
Arn Anderson podcast. That was mostly the stuff that I would listen to. And it just so happened that I was flipping through Instagram, or I can't remember exactly where I saw it, but I saw or heard the trailer for your pod. And I said, well, this is cool, because I usually I would change up what I listen to every time. So, but it's amazing how well or how much difference the music you're listening to affects the whole experience, no matter what you're smoking or pairing with it. It just helps change your mood. And so that was one of the first things that drew me to listen.
Yeah.
And then I know one of the first few podcasts, and you did at Black Mesa Records. I don't.
Yeah.
The artist escapes my mind right now, but it was great music. And but really, what got me hooked is, I believe in episode 1, when Justin was talking about people needing a third space.
Yeah.
And that's I truly believe that. And through my life, I've had different. I grew up racing go-karts as a hobby.
Okay.
So that was my third space, whether it was in the garage wrenching or at the racetrack. And then after I got married and had kids, the baseball field or the soccer field where I was coaching or rooting on the kids seemed to be that third space. And now that we've kind of passed that, now it's sitting, even if it's back here at a lounge, just sitting, enjoying a great cigar, whatever beverage of choice happens to be that day. Today I'm having a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar.
Woo! There you go.
So, and to me, sometimes the cigar is kind of secondary.
Right.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I have to stop and carve out a moment in time to just sit and let everything else kind of go. And it helps you focus on having a conversation with someone else, or even if you're by yourself, it's almost a form of meditation.
Yeah. And we've even talked about, we have to, because we use this Riverside app where it's, we get kind of all the free video time we want on here, but we've even thought about when we do record, having it open where people can jump on and just kind of be like a virtual lounge where, they're listening to us and we're, maybe we'll chime in and get people's thoughts or whatever. But then it's kind of like, it's kind of like a backyard third space, right? That you have a chance to, even if it's to get away for 5 minutes, we even talked about maybe just, instead of recording an episode one week, trying to do like an Instagram live. So you hear the car pulling in, and we really are in the car hole lounge. Justin loves it. He says, "Don't ever edit that out." He loves it when the sounds of the vehicles roll in and out. So I won't.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, I don't edit, so you will definitely hear the cars in the background. But yeah, so I think that's something that's important, to be able to take a minute for yourself, because look, life's stressful, right? It just is. And
Definitely.
and I agree with you. Sometimes the cigar is second or third. It's sometimes it's just there. Sometimes you're just smoking to be smoking, but it's all about the people that are around you. So,
and I don't know how many times that I've been sitting and just get so caught up in a conversation with my son. Mostly, that's one my main smoking buddy. But I have a few other friends that will, and then we'll get caught up in conversation, and then the cigar will go out.
yeah.
So then you have to clean it out and light up it and continue. But I think a lot of times we as men don't look at quote unquote self-care enough.
Yeah.
And having that mental release to kind of just relax.
Yeah, see, I'm a nurse at a crisis stabilization unit. I take care of adolescents ages 10 to 17 that suffer from suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, things like that. So, you could not have spoken better truth. Everybody needs to take time for some self-care. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 5 hours, take some time for yourself, and because if you're not taking care of you, nobody else is going to. So, and that's another thing I wanted to tell you, man. I'm a little jealous. My son Maddox, my older son Christian. He lives 17 hours away, and he's in the Navy, and so he won't smoke a cigar with me because he's got to be fit and all this stuff. Whatever, dude. But
you're not inhaling. It's not going to mess you up.
That's right. But I think it is so cool when I see the pictures of you and Chandler smoking cigars together. Man, that just warms my heart, and I'm there's a tad bit of jealousy there.
Well, I have to tell you, he actually brought me my first cigar.
Oh man, looky there.
So, but before this, as he was growing up, we always used sports to lead into those bigger conversations.
Yeah.
That was always our bond. The same way racing was with my father and I. And he played baseball from the time he started playing t-ball up until he aged out. We always played city league sports. Did a little bit of travel ball, but never really wanted to live that life. But so then he also picked up football in high school, and then was actually recruited to play football in college.
Oh, nice.
So he got in his freshman year, got in camp, hurt his shoulder.
Oh.
He said, "I'm done." He said, "This is just not what I want to do." And of course, I was disappointed, but not for the reason that he thought, because he was going to be away from home. So those coaches weren't going to have eyes on him to help him along his new journey while I wasn't there.
Right.
But then, and he's never really been one to sit and watch sports with us or with me, other than an occasional NFL football game or a college football game, something like that. So we had to find that bonding source. So it became cigars and a little bit of whiskey now and then, and it's really good, really neat. The real conversations that you can have when you get a little loosened up a little bit.
Oh yeah. And you guys, you guys went and saw Zach Bryan, didn't you? Together, right?
Yes, we did. My wife and he and his girlfriend went and saw him in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
And on the second day of the show, and I didn't find out till we were down there that I think Zach and his girlfriend had been in a car accident in Tennessee a few days before that.
Oh.
So I was just happy that he was there, and he puts on a heck of a show. It's one of the best I've seen in a long time.
So now he's from Oologah, Oklahoma, right? So he's
okay.
And he had a little bit of a break in I want to say it was in May. He was in like the Coweta, Catoosa area where he's got some family and stuff. And so Zach, again, I've reached out to a couple of your family members. I'll keep those people private, but you have an open invitation to the Carhole Lounge anytime. You will be in Tulsa in December playing 3 sold-out nights at the BOK, and we've got a spot and a cigar for you and anything else you need here at Smoking Sounds. And hell, we probably could even get Big Al down here if that helps to entice a little bit. So we'd love to have you here.
That would definitely be an encouragement to make the trip.
So yeah, we're gonna have to do that though. We're gonna figure this out. Either meet somewhere halfway. But I almost would even drive up to the Memphis area just because I love blues music. I'm a fat kid, so I love barbecue. I love cigars, and look, I've not ever been known to turn down a dip in a pool. So
hey, it's and. There's lots of debate over who has the best barbecue.
That's right.
I am biased, so the Memphis in May World Barbecue Championships have been held here for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like anything else. It's whatever you're kind of raised on, and you can appreciate other barbecue from other areas, because I know Texas says they have the original barbecue.
I would not agree with that. I'm not a big Texas barbecue. I mean, I like brisket, but Texas is all like big meaty brisket. And I'm not a big beef rib guy. I like pork ribs.
Right. Yes. And of course, you got the KC side that said they got the best.
I've had some good barbecue up in Kansas City. I ain't gonna lie.
They tend to be a little more vinegar heavy.
Yeah. And so what is it in Memphis? I ate at Corky's, I think is where it was. I ate at in Memphis.
Gotcha. I can give you a few other places that are a little more authentic.
Okay.
They've gotten where you can pick their products up in the grocery stores, and don't get me wrong, it's definitely a Memphis original. But there are some other places, Central Barbecue being one.
Uh-huh.
They have a few different locations. One happens to be right down the street from my house.
Well, that's good to know.
They're not paying me to say that, but
we'll
have
sure
great,
take some free barbecue when I'm in the area.
Absolutely. There is a restaurant called Memphis Barbecue Company.
Okay.
The owner of it is Melissa Cookston. So if you're familiar with a lot of the barbecue cook-off shows,
uh-huh.
she's one of the main judges on there with Myron Mixon.
Yeah, I think she did one with Bobby Flay too. I think
Tennessee. And but that's her place, and it's really good also. So and then you've got the even smaller places that the one locations. So you could definitely have a week's worth of barbecue eating here for sure.
And I'm glad you brought that up because like. Hell, I can walk into Sam's here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I can get a cup of Corky's queso, right? So they sell their products and
right.
And so I agree with you that when a company gets to even like Head Country barbecue sauce, right? We grew up in Oklahoma on Head Country barbecue sauce. It seems like once you get to that where it's a mass production, it changes. And so, like we've been eating at a little local. It's called Alley Cat's Barbecue. It's a little barbecue food truck, and it's like their products and their food is so much better. And I think it's because they're small mom and pop barbecue stand. And so in Memphis barbecue, is that where they do it wet or dry? Is that right? You do wet or dry ribs?
Yes, you can do wet, dry, or Corky's in their restaurants. They actually have an option called muddy.
Okay.
So that's your wet sauce with your dry rub on top of it. So it kind of makes it even thickens the sauce up even more.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, I had an appetizer of barbecue nachos at Corky's, and it was pretty damn good.
Now, I would never say that it's not good. So don't get me wrong there. It's absolutely delicious.
So now like the sauce, on the sauce side, are they more sweet, vinegary, ketchup? What would you say their barbecue sauce is?
More of a sweet with the ketchup base, sweet to savory.
Okay.
And they even have the hot version where they add a little heat to it.
No, I can't do that. I'm a basic white boy. I'm an extra mild kind of guy.
You come down here and hang with me a little while. I'll have you eating hot wings.
Shit. I'd try it. I'd have to have like 14 glasses of milk or whatever it is you got to down to get that heat out of your mouth.
Well, in full disclosure, I like to be able to taste my food.
Yeah.
So I don't like high heat. I like high flavor with just a little kick.
There you go. I see now I could jump on board with. I like that.
I'll take care of you.
I'm like you. I like to taste my food. I don't want to be scared of it. You know.
That's right. Well, and I want to be able to taste things later.
Yes.
And not just have your mouth all burn out.
Yeah. So how's this Jaime Garcia treating you? We're entering about the second third here of the cigar. You know.
Mine's again, it's full of flavor. I've got a great burn. Haven't ashed my cigar once, so it's still holding on pretty good.
Damn, we got about the same ash around. Look at us. And you know, I'm with the Jaime Garcia. Seems like I always get. There's a little underlying spice there. It's not one of the spicier cigars. There are some earth tones, maybe like you said, some oak, some cedar, some woody notes. You know, not much in the way of sweetness, but it's just a good cigar, man. From light to finish, it's just one of those that I think everyone should keep one in their humidor.
Absolutely, and it's consistent. It does evolve slightly through, but it's nothing that's. Again, I'm with my palate not being as refined, but I can tell you if it burns my nose or, you know, has that pepper attack. And this is just a smooth, solid cigar.
Yeah, and I would say this is probably more of a mild to medium bodied cigar. Now I've got the bigger ring gauge, the Gordo size. I don't know which one, if you're doing a Toro or which one you're smoking.
I'm having a Toro.
Okay.
They are 6x52, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I think so. But and that's crazy that we're even running about the same burn rate and just a good burn. You know, again, holds a nice tight ash, as Justin would like to say.
Absolutely.
So, and that's another thing, people. You got to stay tuned because coming up next week is Father Time's birthday. So we're hoping to have a special birthday episode for Justin. He doesn't know it yet, but we got some things in the works. So hopefully he doesn't jump on to give us a live update as I'm spoiling that we're going to have something special for him. That wouldn't be very cool, but well, he'll hear it anyway, so who cares? So make sure you're getting those birthday wishes out to Justin. Find him on Facebook, Justin Eagle, with him and his... that's the social media app that works best for him. So he keeps wanting to try Instagram, but his screen reader just doesn't do Instagram. He's like, he's got to stick with the grandpa's social media, as he would say. So, so now, do you have a all-time favorite cigar? Like,
so far, it's really hard to beat that M81.
Yeah.
It has so much flavor. But I will have to tell you the S84. I was worried about trying it because I'm like, what if I don't like it?
Right.
And then Metallica being one of my favorite bands of all time, having to talk trash about their cigar, and that's just not. But the light wrapper will fool you.
Yeah.
It is still full of flavor and ready to go.
So let me ask you, because I have not had the S84 yet, because me and Justin have them. We were just saving them for we were supposed to do, and we're still working on it. We were supposed to be pairing up with another gentleman and with Black and Whiskey to do a James Hetfield Smoking Club event. We're still working on that. Don't have really any more details than that. So we've been kind of saving them for that event. If that doesn't happen soon, I can tell you we're probably going to sit down and smoke them. But one of my hopes is, because it is a lighter shade, Connecticut shade, whatever you want to call it, is my hope is there's some creaminess in there, right? Because I love a good creamy, buttery cigar.
I don't want to ruin it for you.
I think you just did. And that's okay, because that's what, honestly, that's why I would give the Rocky Patel Vintage 1999 a slight edge over Perdomo's 10th anniversary champagne. because it's the Rocky Patel has a little bit more of that creaminess, butteriness to it that I just really enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, really, and just speaking on the Warfighter that I mentioned earlier, it even for a Maduro, it does have a kind of creamy, not really a sweet, but I don't know, maybe thick, so it kind of coats your mouth, if that makes sense. And that's one of the things I really liked about it. Now it's happened. It's jumped in the top 10 for sure.
Okay, so now who makes that?
The Warfighter brand.
Okay.
I don't have. I've checked out their website, and they have a lot of really cool products. But it's its own brand.
Yeah, when you say that, it reminds me of, because Espinosa has that Warhawk or Warfighter cigar that they've been advertising a lot lately, and that's another thing, man. Me and Justin, we were checking out a newer cigar shop in Tulsa to us, Omerta Cigars, and we were standing in the humidor, and this guy walks in, and he was asking the young man working there if he needed anything else, and he introduced himself to us. He said, "Hey, yeah, my name's Tony. I'm VP of Sales for Espinosa Cigars," and we were like. And Justin, you know, he didn't skip a beat. "Hey, we got a podcast, Smoking Sounds." And he looks at both of us and goes, "Oh yeah, I know. I've heard of you guys." And we both about just fell over right there in that humidor like, "Man, you mean somebody actually has heard of us?" So he gave us his card, and I told him, you know, because have you had the knuckle sandwich, the Guy Fieri cigar?
I have not.
Man, that is a damn good cigar. I've had a couple of cigars from Espinosa that I really liked, but that knuckle sandwich, and actually the Maduro wrapper or the Connecticut broadleaf, those two are probably more of my favorite than the Connecticut in that line of cigars. And it's kind of like with James Hetfield. What I like about Guy Fieri is he's not just a dude putting his name on a cigar. He smokes the cigars. He's about the cigars. He knows the cigars. And again, Guy knows he's got an open invitation to Smoking Sounds anytime. I messaged him on Instagram the other day. You know, I figured, well, why not? You know, what is it they say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. He's already not on the podcast, so the worst thing that can happen is he actually decides to jump on. And so I've been bugging Tony, trying to get him to nudge Guy, you know, to see if he can't get him jump on here with us, you know, just because I love the dude. I think you know, he's a great chef, and I love what he did for the restaurant community and chefs during COVID. And I think he's a guy that gives back, and he just seems like a really cool dude. Hell, he loves Sammy Hagar. I love Van Hagar.
How can you go wrong?
I know he loves tequila. You know,
and it's funny you say that because he actually featured a restaurant here in Memphis, Tom's Barbecue, on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Okay. So now is that place still open? Is it still doing good?
Yes, it is. It's they tried a second location. It didn't do as well, but he's alive and well and kicking tail in his original location.
Nice. Yeah, I see. Sometimes I think that can be a kind of a curse and a blessing at the same time, because you get all this instant exposure, and then your first thought is, well, I need more locations because now I got more people. And then you kind of lose that original feel, and it kind of falls off, or, you know, let's just be honest, man. I don't know. I don't own a business, but I can imagine it's not easy to keep up with all those bills and all that. The price of brisket and ribs and stuff. That's not cheap nowadays.
No, not at all. And just being around to keep an eye on the quality and make sure it stays at a standard that you've set.
Yeah, and I wonder if that happens to, you know, I know this isn't Eat, Drink, Smokes with Tony Katz. Justin's going to love that I got that plug in there, but you know. I wonder if that doesn't happen to some of these celebrity chefs where they have these great restaurants and then all of a sudden they get big, and so they start franchising these locations, and then I think that loses a little bit of its luster, you know, because you're not the chef putting your hands on the product.
Right. Well, and two, a lot of times then you almost become the figurehead. Right. And then trying to make sure that everything meets the quality and not only the taste, but stays consistent from location to location. Yeah,
because I know we were talking about Texas barbecue a little bit ago, and I will say I've always wanted to try Franklin's down there because he's supposed to have the best brisket, and you know that's where everybody camps out overnight. And but he used to have a guy that was, I guess, his protege or whatever you want to call it. And so he opened one called Love Barbecue, LA Barbecue there. And he's like 3 blocks from Franklin's, and they say that it's just as good at eating at Franklin's because he knows all of Franklin's tricks and of the trade and how to smoke those briskets and all that. So I'm going to be in Austin in September playing some baseball, so I might have to try. If I can't get into Franklin's, I'll have to try La Barbecue out.
I got you. We actually made a trip to Austin last October.
Okay.
And didn't spend a lot of time in Austin, visited a few places outside, have a relative that lives out that way. And that was one of the places that we were told that needs to be on the bucket list.
Yeah.
So next time we go, we're gonna try to check that out for sure. Now, I have been told if a restaurant doesn't have a 3 to 4 hour wait, it's not worth going to.
Especially in Texas for barbecue. See, I was down at Austin last year. We play at this place called The Long Time. Jack Sanders has a little sandlot. He built a baseball field in his backyard. It's great. It's awesome. Yeti, they did a YouTube film on it, Yeti at The Long Time. If you got an extra 30 minutes sometimes, check it out. Jack Sanders, he runs the Texas Playboys down there. It's awesome. We love playing down there. But, I may have mentioned this before. I'm a little bit of a fat kid. I love food. And so last time we were down there, I couldn't get myself out of In-N-Out burgers. I absolutely love In-N-Out burgers. And it was like breakfast. Yeah, let's go get a couple of double-doubles from In-N-Out,
Well, one of the Texas staples, Whataburger, was here in the 70s and 80s and then closed down and left here and now has come back with a vengeance. We have 2 in the town that I'm in.
Uh-huh.
More coming into Memphis, and but again, I think it's mostly nostalgia because it just doesn't have the quality that I remember as a kid going.
We have a Whataburger here, and in Tulsa we have a ton of them, but they're one of the better fast food burgers here in town. I hear 100% what you're saying. We had a barbecue place when I was growing up. It was in North Tulsa called Naughty Pine Barbecue, and it burned down in the late 80s, early 90s, and it went away forever. And well, then the daughter tried to reopen it, and it just wasn't what it once was. So, you can't always strike lightning in a bottle twice, or whatever it is they say. So. But my father, they do a good job with these cigars, man. I not forgetting we're smoking these Jaime Garcias, and like I said, it's just one of my. I told Bill, I seen him today, and I said, Bill, I still can't thank you enough for introducing me to these Jaime Garcias, and I told him that me and you were going to be smoking these on this little fun little episode we're doing here. Howlin with the Wolf is what we're going to call this. I like that. It kind of. Whoa, there you go. See, it kind of brings. My dad was a big blues guy, right? And
Gotcha.
Right before he passed away, I had actually gotten him a Howlin Wolf Smokestack Lightning T-shirt, and so I was driving to his burial, and I have Sirius XM, and I was listening to the Blues Channel, and I could tell you on the number, like 2 fingers, how many times I'd ever heard Smokestack Lightning on B.B. King's Bluesville. As I turned to go towards where we were burying him, Smokestack Lightning came on, and I thought, man, that's got to be some sort of sign, right? So.
Absolutely, and just like smoking a cigar can be almost spiritual.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about music. Great music makes you feel something.
Yes.
No matter the genre, and it can change your mood. It can help you deal with things that you didn't think you could get through. It's just again, to me, it's a form of self-care.
And I'm telling you,
that's something we all need.
When we were privileged enough to have R.R. Williams and Chris from Black Mesa Records on here with us, I'm kidding you. I loved that song Tulsa from R.R. Me and Justin had been riding around. I was having him listening to it. But then to be sitting in a room and him playing that on an acoustic guitar, the feeling was spiritual, whatever you want to call it. It was just a moment, and I was so happy to be there to experience it. So.
Yeah, well, there's something about when it's just an artist and their instrument, whether it's a guitar or a violin or fiddle or even a bass guitar. I mean, just to watch, and it kind of goes back to that relationship with something outside of people.
Yeah.
So it just makes it timeless.
And, and what we've had people tell us, when we ask them, what do you listen to when you're smoking something? And a lot of times we hear that like a dark wrapper cigar, that a lot of people like Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, like more Iron Maiden, more heavy metal goes more with a dark Maduro cigar. But, I mean, we've listened to some Zach Bryan and some Morgan. I always want to say Morgan Wallen, but I was told today that that's not right.
It's Wallen. Yeah.
Morgan Wallen, sorry. Hey, you can come on too if you want, Morgan. We'd be more than happy to have you too. Hell, I'd love to have anybody that wants to sit down, smoke a cigar, and, talk smack. Stone Cold. Undertaker's got a podcast, 6 Feet Under. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's a new one to me, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of these guys now have a lot of opportunities after they're finished in the ring.
Yeah.
And Jerry Lawler, the King of Memphis.
King of Memphis.
King of Memphis.
So now, was Memphis, I wanted to ask you this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I told myself, Sean, don't forget to ask Alan. So was Memphis, were they part of Mid-South Wrestling in the territory days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mid-South Wrestling, and then USWA, and they used to do a lot of maybe talent swap with Georgia and Texas and UWF, the Von Erichs and Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Hey, that right there, that's an Oklahoma boy.
Oh, yeah, Boomer.
That's right. Did you guys ever get, because we had like the Rock and Roll Express was here like all the time. Did you guys ever get them?
Rock and Roll Express came in. Jim Cornette with the Midnight Express.
And Sting was part of Mid-South for a while.
Yes, Sting, and he was actually part of a tag team with the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh yeah, you sent me that video.
Called the Blade Runner.
Yes, that's right. You sent me that video.
The Rock was here.
Wow.
Under his Flex Cavana name. Cactus Jack.
So that was before Rocky Montana or whatever he was in, right?
Yes. Well, it was Flex Cavana before he was Rocky Maivia.
Rocky Maivia, that's right. Yeah.
So he was Flex here, and then when he got called up to the Big Show, became Rocky Maivia, Maivia being his grandfather's name, and of course Rocky being his dad's name, and then of course when the Nation of Domination came around, that's when he morphed into The Rock.
Man, listen to Big Al. He knows that wrestling talk, guys. That's why we got Big Al on here. Not only does he howl with the wolf, but he knows a thing or two about a Stone Cold Stunner.
Absolutely. And I remember when he was stunning Steve Austin.
That's right.
It had hair.
Yes. And then he was with Flying Brian Pillman, right? They were, I can't remember.
Absolutely. They were the Hollywood Blondes.
Hollywood Blondes, that's right. Wow. And now, have you watched the Stone Cold documentary where he talks about how he came up with his name?
I have not. But I have watched some documentaries that talk about when he left WCW and went to ECW.
Yeah.
And that just speaks to the genius of Paul Heyman.
That's right. Yes.
Back then, Paul E. Dangerously.
That's right.
To just give him a mic and let him go. Let him be creative.
See, and that's what I like. That's like getting back into wrestling. I was kind of telling you this the other day that since I started doing this with Justin, I've kind of got back into wrestling. And what I've noticed is I like someone who's good on the mic, right? Like that's why I love LA Knight, Tiffany Stratton.
Absolutely.
I love someone who's good on the mic because to me, wrestling, it's kind of like a cigar, right? Like the wrestling's kind of secondary to the entertainment. If I like you, I'm going to root for you, right? That's why I love LA Knight. When he walks out and says, "Let me talk to you." I love it.
Absolutely. Well, Triple H happens to be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Oh yeah.
And watching him transform from Hunter Hearst Helmsley with the elegant music, like the pipe smoking music.
Yes, and there you go.
As it's morphed into the DX Triple H and then the game, the King of Kings, and then even Evolution, the stable with Batista and Randy Orton and Ric Flair.
That's right.
You know, it's just to watch their characters change and evolve. It's a soap opera for guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. And what he's doing for the WWE now, you know, and then having Shawn Michaels running NXT. I mean, I just think that has really helped out WWE tremendously.
Oh, most definitely. And like you, I've been kind of in and out over the years. So what brought me back into the WWE spectrum was NXT.
Okay.
Because I thought they had a superior product to the main rosters because it all got kind of hokey.
Yeah.
You know, and after the Attitude Era, I got kind of, then it was getting a little risque, and you know, the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club and all of that stuff was a little over the top.
Yeah.
But just, it was stripped down, was a dark arena, small crowd inside with NXT, and it was just kind of, you could watch the characters evolve. Finn Balor being one of those one of the most entertaining ones I saw from that time. Bailey when she was still a hugger before she became the Damage Control Bailey.
Yeah.
And now she's back. She's back to being a face. So
right.
But just to watch the evolution, and one of the things with Jerry Lawler is he was a great babyface.
Yes.
But his best is when he was a heel.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the days of him and Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart managed him some, and then Jimmy Hart managed against him. Even the days when taking this way back to the '80s when Andy Kaufman, and Lawler had to stint. That was really cool.
And you know, some of the things I'm learning is Jimmy Hart, man, he has his hands in a lot of things. Like he actually helps compose a lot of the intro songs that the guys come out to and stuff.
Absolutely. Well, he was in a band before he got into wrestling.
Oh wow! See, I didn't know that. I do think it's still cool though that he's still kicking around with Hulk Hogan. I'll see Hulk Hogan on social media and stuff, and usually Jimmy Hart's not too far behind him. But
absolutely.
But see, I used to love Captain Lou and Cyndi Lauper and Ricky the Dragon. Those were my guys until that glass broke. Man, that changed my life when I saw Stone Cold.
Yes. Well, and one of my Saturday morning rituals when I was a kid was watching Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
Woo! That's right.
The cartoon. So
the hills and the faces.
With Hillbilly Jim and Bobby the Brain Heenan was one of the best heel managers and then turned commentator ever. That's awesome.
And I still have all these little, I wish I should have I've been meaning to bring them down and put them out here in the Carhole Lounge, but all these old LJN wrestling figures, man, I absolutely love these stupid things. And I keep them around in case someone breaks in. I can just hit them with one of these.
There you go. Well, one of the things as my son was coming in, he got into wrestling, and of course, every time we went to the store, he would want a wrestling man.
Yeah.
So he has a box full of wrestling figures from, I think he has 4 different Rey Mysterios and 3 different Undertakers, and you name it, he's had it over the years. So.
Yeah, I still buy toys, Al, and especially like if I'm at a vintage toy store and I find the LJNs or G.I. Joe was my favorite growing up, and so I've got tons of G.I. Joe stuff, and my son Maddox, it drives him nuts that I won't open the packages. He's like, he cannot wait for something to happen to me just so he can go open all my toys.
Absolutely. Well, I was a big Star Wars kid.
Oh yes, same here.
But I would make my Star Wars guys wrestle my G.I. Joes.
Nice.
Before the wrestling figures came out, and it's funny when you hear CM Punk talk about the ice cream bars now.
Oh man, those things were so cool.
I don't remember. I don't know if you remember or not when they had the Hulk Hogan, the different character ice cream bars,
Yes,
like
sir.
an ice cream sandwich.
Yes, sir.
That was just the ultimate.
Yeah, those and the what were they called? The My Wrestling Buddies, the pillows. They had like you could get Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior. Man, they always knew how to market. Man, that's the one thing. I guess that was probably more Vince than his dad. He took that marketing to a whole new level.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. You get kids reeled in.
Yep.
The adults. You have to buy it. You know, but. Like you, we're about the same age, so we're that's one of the coolest parts about being a dad,
right?
Is you get to play with the toys first.
That's right. So I wanted to ask you this: being there in the Memphis area, so are you a Grizzlies fan, a Titans fan? Who do you guys root for there?
I am. I'm a big time Grizzlies fan. Usually anything Memphis, I'm a big fan. I did my college years at the University of Memphis.
Okay.
When I was there in the mid 90s, it had just changed from Memphis State to University of Memphis.
Okay.
So that was a big transition time. Shortly after Penny Hardaway had graduated, gone. So back then I was an Orlando Magic fan.
There you go.
I think everybody was.
Well,
they had the coolest jerseys and
they had Shaq and Penny and Yeah, you had to be.
Absolutely. So, and of course now Penny has come home, and I think he's going into his 6th year as head coach.
Yeah,
of the,
that's right.
Of the Memphis basketball team. So,
and the Orlando Magic they had one of the cooler starter jackets too in the mid '90s. You had to have that starter jacket.
Oh, for sure. My favorite one was because I was a big University of Miami fan.
Yes,
that's who was winning at the time.
That's right.
So I had the big orange and green and white starter jacket, the pullover kind.
Yes.
And I had the LA Kings just regular zip up starter coat.
Yep.
Again, that goes back to Saturday morning cartoons, the Pro Stars.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And Bo Jackson being one of my favorite athletes of all time, mainly because he played for the Memphis Chicks.
Yes.
Which was a minor league team for the Kansas City Royals. And
I can't remember what year it was. So in Tulsa, the Drillers, we have because the Memphis Chicks, they're the AA affiliate, right, for the Royals, or are they the AAA?
Well, now it's the Redbirds, and they are the AAA.
Okay, so I think back in the late '80s or mid '80s, they had the MIL or the minor league baseball all-star game here in Tulsa, and Bo Jackson played at it when he was with the Chicks.
That was really cool.
And
that's really cool.
Yeah, that was a lifetime ago.
And I know you're a Cubs fan, and I am a reformed Cardinals fan.
Okay, we'll forget you mentioned that, but okay.
But the Memphis Redbirds is now is the AAA affiliate for the Cardinals.
Okay.
So still one of my favorite players of all time, happens to be a catcher, so I'm sure you can relate. Yadier Molina.
Yes. Actually, I can't say anything bad about him. I mean, he's a hell of a catcher. I mean,
well, he had a T-shirt that said "You're out of your mind."
That's right.
To try to steal on him, but we got to see him here on a rehab assignment in person one year, and I did have the opportunity to see Albert Pujols.
Oh, nice.
On a rehab assignment. I
was at a game at Wrigley one year. Me and my friend, we were up there and we were at it was the Cubs and the Pirates. The Cardinals weren't even playing, and there was guys walking around Wrigleyville with these shirts on, and it said "Pujols mows my lawn," and and then they had the Cardinals fans had one with, I can't remember who the Cubs, may have been Giovanni Soto or whoever it was at the time. But, I mean, that Cubs-Cardinal rivalry, it can get absolutely crazy.
Oh, there's a guy that's here that's he's kind of an acquaintance, was a customer of mine at one time, was a drummer for one of the bands that local bands that we like around here, and he's a big-time fan. Okay. And so he'll and he's a big Memphis Tiger fan, so he usually finishes all of his posts with "Go Cubs, go Tigers."
Uh-huh.
And there was a day then they may have played and the Cardinals may have won, and he said, "I hope you have a good day, unless you're a Cardinals fan."
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. A lot of Cubs fans here too.
So I grew up in Oklahoma, which it still surprises me to this day, but WGN was one of our local channels. So if you had rabbit ears, you got WGN. Why we didn't get the Cardinals, why we didn't get the Royals, why we didn't get the Rangers, I don't know. But being that the Cubs didn't have a night game until '88, we always watched the Bozo Show, and then the Cubs played. So, I got to watch,
Absolutely.
Mark Grace and Ryan Sandberg and Andre Dawson and Harry Carey. I got a Harry Carey tattoo.
Right.
And then the Braves. We got the Braves, too. So I got to watch Greg Maddux as a Cub and as a Brave. So the Braves have always kind of had a soft spot in my heart as well.
Well, that's really cool because a tie that we have locally to the Braves is a young man named Austin Riley.
Okay, I know that name.
He actually graduated high school from the same high school my son and daughter went to.
Oh, nice.
So we got to watch him win back-to-back state championships, high school championships before he went off. And, of course, he was signed to Mississippi State but ended up going straight to the league.
Yeah.
And so we want to see the hometown kids do well.
So one thing I wanted to ask you before we wrap this up, man, again, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here and just shoot the shit with me for a little bit and just getting to hang out with you, man. This has been so cool, man. This is highlight of my week for sure. But so when we were driving to Atlanta, my wife wanted Starbucks, and I had missed like 4 different Starbucks stops. So the closest one was in downtown Memphis. So it was like at a Resident Inn, some nice hotel there. Probably one of the nicer Starbucks I've ever been in. But there is a University of Memphis downtown there. That's not the main campus, is it?
No, that's a satellite campus.
Okay.
There's several satellite campuses around, but the main campus is right in the heart of what they call East Memphis.
Okay.
So
now is that West Memphis is Arkansas, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We don't claim them.
Well, I'll edit that part out. Oh wait, I don't edit. So, but yeah, so because I saw that and I was like, for a satellite campus, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's great. They do first class. They just recently, within the last maybe 7 or 8 years now, built a new athletic facility just off of campus with some other satellite buildings there in walking distance of the main campus. And they call it the White House because it's big, has the great big columns in the front. But,
yes.
And still is pretty top of the line with, thumbprint, fingerprint locks on the lockers and access, 24-hour access for the players, massage rooms. I mean,
wow.
All top of the line stuff.
So I just got a message from Justin. He did retain the Tennessee Backyard Heavyweight Champion of the World, but the Grim Reaper and the Atomic Titan tried to sneak attack on Father Time, so he's getting patched up. They tried to put him through a couple of tables, hit him with a couple of folding chairs, so he's Tiffy Time's tending to his wounds, I guess we'll say, and but he was able to hold on to the title, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to jump on with us, but he did want to make sure that we got that in, that he did hold on to the belt, and so he's going to collect his coins in the bank, get a little Tiffy time, and enjoy another Tabernacle by Foundation, since that's his reigning heavyweight champion cigar. Have you had one of those?
I have not. That is definitely on my list. And I was in a conversation with one of the members of the TriStar Herf crew, who I've just recently been patched in as a member. And that's he happens to work in a lounge, and he says, if you like the League of Nine, he said, you're going to love the Foundation broadleaf.
Thank you again, man. See, Alan, it's like, man, I'm just going to quit and just hand the show over to you, man, because thank you so much. I have just joined the TriStar Herf crew, and I'm kind of in there. I don't even remember prospect. I'm a prospect, right?
Yes.
It's like Sons of Anarchy, but
Absolutely.
so. what I want to say is those guys could not have been more welcoming. I mean, it is just, I got added to a text thread there on Instagram. And I mean, every morning people are, hey, good morning. You know, it's such a positive way to start your day off, man. And so I don't know when you get patched in, if you still have access to that, but man, it's just been a highlight of my day. I wake up, man, cause I get up at 3:15 every morning to go to work, and man, there's already people on there, and I'm like, hell yeah. And it's not just people in Tennessee. So that's
right. Well, I'm hoping that once you get patched in, we can pencil in the Oklahoma, the state. As far as I know, I am the only Mississippi member.
Okay.
At the moment, hopefully that changes, but after you will get removed from the prospect chat. But the member chat is there's it's just as good, just as close. Just a lot more people there, and haven't heard a crossword, or everybody's just been super cool. And there's another on the podcast front. There are some members that have the Real Minutes podcast.
Okay,
and that's one of the things they touch on, very similar to what you guys do. It's about spending real minutes, not just time.
Yeah.
With people and things that you love.
Yeah. And I was hesitant to try to join because when you look at the TriStar Herf crew, it looks like a lot of people in Tennessee. I know you're there, you know, close enough, right, to Tennessee. And so, but then they put a post up and they were kind of penciling in the states where they had members. And I thought, well, hell, Oklahoma is not colored. Let me see if I can't get, you know, so it's kind of like I'm a member and a half, because I feel like I'm bringing Justin along with me since he can't jump on. And, you know, so it's kind of like we're a combo package there. But I've absolutely loved, I believe, is it Paul is the guy that runs the TriStar Herf crew, and they were having their Herf meeting tonight on Zoom, and I told him, I said, man, I'd love to jump on there, but I get to kick it with my brother Big Al, and I told him, I said, but we'll definitely be mentioning you guys. So again, I'm just going to hand the keys to the car over to you, man, because you've done way better on this podcast than I have. So well,
if you handle to me, we may end up in a ditch somewhere.
Well, hey, that's okay. At least we'll be smoking cigars, listening to some good tunes, and you know, we may be stuck in a ditch, but we'll be there together. Just make sure we got plenty of Dr. Pepper Zero. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely.
Ben and them turned me on to that, drinking those with cigars, and I think Robert or one of the guys said that it's got to be the 23 different flavors they put in that thing that just make it work. But I have not had it with a cigar that it didn't go with yet. So, and I'm a big, you know, being a diabetic, I'm a big zero sugar diet soda drinker. So, well, listen, man, we have, I think we've covered it all. I mean, we've talked wrestling. We've talked some more wrestling. We got some music in there. The Jaime Garcia from My Father, great cigar as always. Let's see. You know what? I make these scripts out and I never use them. So let me just make sure I hit all my notes here. You know, and I think I don't remember if I said this on air, but I think I did tell you, Zach Bryan and the Great American Bar Scene is going to be in Tulsa, and the song Memphis, John Moreland is on that. He is a Tulsa native, and you guys heard R.R. Williams on here with us, and John plays on RR's album coming out in August. So that's a great Oklahoma connection there, you know. Let's see. And again, I love that Pink Skies, man. I thought about playing it again.
It's a great song.
You know, do you follow Silent Hero Cigars?
I do.
Okay.
Just fairly recently.
Yeah. Bryce and Mike, those guys, man, I am so on board with what they're doing, man. They've got a cigar manufacturer down there in Arizona that's putting some cigars together for them. And I'm actually sending them some poker chips and stuff. And, you know, I think there's something to this community. And when you give back, especially, you know, being someone who works in the mental health field, to veterans with PTSD. My wife works for they're a video production company called Deep Fork Productions, and they are veteran owned, and they do things with like Army bass hunters and RB pig hunters and all this stuff, but it's all giving back to veterans. And, you know, my son's in the Navy. And so, man, anybody who jumps on board and doing something with their time to give back, man, Silent Hero Cigars, you guys got to follow them. So yeah, I'm just, and again, I haven't had a negative interaction with anybody in the cigar community.
No, that's me, and it's like you guys have talked in the past about the podcast community. The cigar community is kind of the same way. You know, one of the things I always worried about was, hey, if I'm in a lounge, is somebody going to sit down next to me and look at me crazy because of the cigar that I'm smoking?
Yeah.
It's not in the price point that they're smoking. I've never had that happen anywhere I've been.
Me
it's
either.
just been, and that's the beautiful thing. It just like anything else, you smoke what you like, and nobody's gonna bother you about it.
So I don't know what the heat's like up there in the Memphis, Mississippi area for you, but Oklahoma, it gets like hotter than the center in church hot, right? So I like to refer to these as our factory smoke days because, a factory smoke is not a bad cigar. But if it gets where I'm out here and I look like I'm taking a shower trying to smoke a cigar because it's so hot, I'm not going to be upset if I waste a little bit of a Drew Estate factory smoke. As if I'm smoking a Liga Privada number 9, I'm probably going to be a little upset if I waste half of that stick, right?
Right. Now, of course, that's a little higher price point. It's in the $20 to $25 a stick price range, which is upper end for me. And I'm well aware that there are even more pricey cigars.
Yeah.
But, it's that's one of those ones where you kind of just sweat through it.
Yeah, you're sure right. So now listen, I was in Fogan Bates, one of our other local shops here. They're our Davidoff dealer here in town, and Davidoff just released a new cigar, and I can't remember what it was called, but at $67 a stick, I haven't been able to pull the trigger yet on it.
Yeah. So Spring Street Cigars is one of our local here in South Haven. It's the closest one to me in proximity. So that's where I tend to give most of my business and spend time. They also they have the Davidoff line there, and there is some of the 70s. We saw the other day that there was $170 stick, and it's one of the anniversary sticks. I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Like the White Rabbit or Year of the Rabbit or something. I can't remember what they are, but they get pretty.
So maybe one day. My biggest, and this may be faux pas because I know Padron is one of the more well thought of cigars, cigar lines. I had a 1964, and it was, and of course I'm willing to give it another chance, but it was not one of my favorites.
And I appreciate that honesty.
It's one of those things. I'll give it another shot as my palate evolves. That may be what it takes. It could have been the day. It could have been me. I could have overlit it.
Right.
I could have not. I think I was drinking Sprite that day, so that may have not been the best pairing with it. So I always believe in giving them a second chance, but. I know they're one of the long-standing manufacturers in the space, so I don't want to badmouth them or talk down about them because it could have been, like I said, it could have been user error. But that was just my experience on that day.
And that might be why they put Justin Father Time through the table, is because he said some bad stuff about the Hemingway when we first started. That's another one that everybody, I've not ever had a Hemingway, but everyone loves that cigar, the short story or this and that. But Justin, he did not have the best experience with it. And so that's probably why the Grim Reaper and the Prophet and them just put him through the table, is because he said some bad stuff about the Hemingway. They must have been Hemingway fans, I'm guessing.
Maybe so. Now, I have had the pleasure of having a Hemingway short story, and it was right after, it was St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And my son and I had bought one of the local hand-rolled barber poles that had the Candela and the Maduro and the Connecticut, and it just did not burn well, and it was just not a good experience. So I'm looking forward to trying the Irish Wolfhound, because I'm sure Tomas over at Ultimo Cigars will be will have a great blend.
I quit. You got the keys to the car. You brought up Tomas. You brought up, man, you're the man. But hey, listen, next time you're in your local establishment, I had a cigar from Drew Estate. It's one of their Kentucky Fire Cured. It's called, the guy told me it was the Swamp Thing. It's a Candela and a Maduro wrapper cigar. And I smoked one on the 4th of July. Fantastic smoke, man. Just fire. And another one that I want you to try, if you can find it. If not, let me know. Room 101, the 14th anniversary.
Okay.
It tastes like a meal. I don't, if that makes sense, right? It's hearty, right? Like Dunbarton's Red Meat is a great cigar. I expected that to be more like a heavy, meaty, feel like I just ate a porterhouse steak, right? But the Room 101, man, Matt Booth and them, they're doing some great things over there at Room 101. I just got the Hit and Run again, the Farce, Los Statos. Man, they do some great stuff over there at Room 101 that I've been able to get my hands on. So anything you would recommend before we get out of here? I'm
a big fan of the Herrera Esteli line from Drew Estate.
Yes, I just had those too. Thank you.
The Brazilian Maduro, the Habano. Have not had the Connecticut yet, but I'm willing to try it. They also have a Miami version of that. But Willie Herrera over there does a great job. A lot of people have Willie Wednesday, so they'll have a Herrera Esteli or one of his blends on a Wednesday, and he actually blended the Liga Privada 10. Was one of his first Liga blends.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and so you recommended those Herrera Estelis to me, and I brought the I guess the Maduro, and then the one with the white and red wrapper. Is that the Connecticut broadleaf?
That is the Habano.
Okay, that one is my favorite, man. I've got to go get. I liked the Maduro, but that Habano, or as Justin likes to call it, the Habanero, man, I loved that thing.
That is definitely a creamy cigar.
Yes. And in a price point that you can afford, right? I mean, for a jurisdiction.
Absolutely.
It smokes way better than its price point.
I believe it's maybe $10, $11, $11 to $13, right there in that price range.
Yeah, and it smokes way. I mean, you would think it's a $20 to $25 stick.
Absolutely. Well, and that was one of the things about the Warfighters. It was $10.99, so it was right there in that sweet spot, and it smoked. But when you talk about a creamy cigar, that Herrera Esteli Habano is the epitome of that.
Yeah. So again, Alan, I want to thank you so much for jumping on here. Again, we've got the Smoking Sounds. What did I don't even remember what I put on here? The Smoking Team poker chips. We're going to be getting some of those out to you. Our good friend Carrie down there in Florida at Cowboy HD 11, Kevin's at Cigars with Kevin. Hey, look, I got it for you here at Cigars_WIT_big_Al. Look, I got it for you right there, buddy.
Got it. Absolutely. Spot on.
You know, Mike from the Tobacco Pouch, Hugo Smokes, Dirk, Cigars for Beginners, Bryce and Mike there, guys at Silent Hero Cigars. And I just spoke to Nick. Your Smoking Sounds cigar holder is going to be in the mail this week. He's about to, I think he's turning it on his machine tomorrow, and he will have it out to you. And
awesome. I would look forward to that.
I put, the Ash Cigarella, our new little mascot guy. Absolutely love that dude, right? I put him up there, and Nick messaged me almost instantly, and he was like, "Can I please do something with this? Like, will you just give me permission to run?" And I was like, "Yes." Do what I saw. I'm really looking forward to see what he's gonna do with Ash Cigarella and our Herfy the Eagle is what Justin's calling it. So we, from when we're at his house, we got the Eagles Herf. But I guess we gotta bring this one to an end. So let me get it. Might as well go out the way we came in here. That's not it. I pushed the wrong song, Al. Now look, they're gonna. Okay, there we go. Time to put on our blue suede shoes, board the plane, and head back to the Car Hole Lounge. Alan, thank you again so much for being on here. This is going to be the first of many times. Again, you have an open seat here at the Car Hole Lounge. If you just want to jump on when we're doing this, man, you've got an open seat here either through the video or we're going to meet up one day. I promise that, brother.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. I've had a blast.
Yeah. So listen, that's a wrap on today's episode. Hey, thanks again to the Tulsa Pipe Club, Brian, Jeff, Wayne, Rod, Alan, all our friends out there. Join the Tulsa Pipe Club. You don't have to live in Tulsa to join. Just jump on Facebook and join them. And don't forget to follow us. We're at Smoking Sounds Pods, wherever you want to find us. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. Hey, we'd appreciate it if you leave us a review. That just helps us connect with more music lovers, cigar lovers, Stone Cold lovers. Again, thank you so much to the man from Graceland out there in Memphis, to Big Al, Alan Wolfe. Happy birthday again to Chandler. And guys, thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll have Justin back with the belt next week. And again, keep those cigars lit and the sounds smoking.